Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I want to talk about why you should keep your BMW and you should never buy a Porsche. Okay, so as many of you guys know, this is a BMW channel. And many of you guys know I've got a lot and a hell of a lot of knowledge when it comes to BMW specifically. Many of you guys join this channel based on all my BMW videos. Doesn't matter which one it was, you all come from them BMW videos. And some of you have come through the later Porsche ones. But this video is really to relate to my BMW guys and why you as BMW guys should not buy a Porsche and you should stick with your BMW. Now there is a lot of reasons for that and I'm gonna go over them. I wanna just point out, I am gonna be very blunt in this video. I know some of you ain't gonna like it. Please don't take it the wrong way. I'm just being very blunt about it because you'll get a lot of people who think they can go out tomorrow and buy one of these, and I'm here to tell you why you should not. Now the first reason, as many of you guys know, Porsche is a luxurious prestige sports car. That comes at an insane cost. And obviously, parts are very, very expensive. The price of probably just a set of control arms for a Porsche, no matter which one it is, because you've got to remember guys, 987, 997, they all use the same layout. You could probably overhaul your whole BMW for, and because you know, as many of you guys know, you can buy all your front control arms for about £200. You can buy the rear ones for very cheap for about £30 each, male ones. They're not expensive. Engine parts are not expensive. You can buy them readily online. And you know, you've got hundreds of different brands out there, whether it be Febby, an alternative one male. There's loads of different brands out there, L-Ring, you name it. It's readily available for BMW and parts are not overpriced. BMW, if I wanted to overhaul the M52 engine, I was looking many times and it still needs to be overhauled on my E60. I can overhaul that engine for less than £400. Let me tell you now, to overhaul an engine on a Porsche, it's insane money, absolutely insane. I have already got £7,000 just in parts for this engine only. Bear in mind, that's with ARP head bolts, ARP conrod bolts. The ARP head bolts was of cost of £700 for head bolts. Conrod bolts are a cost of £280. They are not cheap. You're gonna pay Porsche tax, as they call it. If you own a Porsche, you're gonna pay through the nose for it because the way they see it, it's always in high demand because guess what? If it's a high demand part and say for instance, I don't know, the control arms are failing, the price of them will go through the roof. Or for instance, like the bore score, because I know it's a common problem, you're gonna be taking the engine apart. You had all these manufacturers jumping on it, trying to make these other parts to sell it for more money. Don't be fooled. This is one of the reasons why Porsche is not for a lot of you guys. It will financially bankrupt you. You'll have to remortgage your house for one of these cars. It's not a joke. The income you need to maintain one of these is probably about 6 to 7 grand a month. I'm quite fortunate I have that to be able to do this, because if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to overhaul 2 Porsches, trust me on that. So the financial position for me at the moment is very, very good. For you guys, I know it ain't, because I know a lot of you comment on my channel that you're running with a lot of problems with your BMs and still struggling to afford the parts for them. A lot of you don't even buy genuine parts. And if you can't even afford genuine parts for a BMW, you are never going to be able to afford the parts on a Porsche, because there is no cheap alternative for Porsche. Companies are very clever. They do what you call a pattern on their parts where nobody can copy it. Like the IMS tool, the IMS pullers. There's head bolt removers that they make as well to drill out the head bolts on the exhaust manifolds on these. A company made them called Sensky Racing. They charge a fortune for it to do it. They all patent all their parts. They can't be copied. There is no Chinese alternatives. It's either OE or genuine. And guess what? They're literally the same. It doesn't matter what you go for. Genuine and OE are literally the same. Same for the corner hoses, same for the control arms. There is no difference. In a minute, I will take you over to the computer and we're gonna run through Design 911, which is known for the Porsche parts. They deliver everywhere around the UK and all around the EU. They are very well known. And I'm gonna show you the prices of what these parts go for. And bear in mind, you cannot find half these parts anywhere else online. Design 911 is probably the most common place people go for their parts when it comes to Porsche. I just want to run you through how quick and how much this car can cost you, one of these, if you was to buy one. BMW is the safer bet for a lot of you. It is a lot cheaper. And don't get me wrong, I love BMW for being cheap because you know what? Porsche has made me realize, you know, before, you know, I could overhaul the BMWs and be loving life with a lot of money, but these take a lot of money. That's not to say I don't have money. That's not to say they're taking all my money. I'm not having to remortgage my house to afford them, that's for sure. But they do take a lot of money, more money than a BMW. You know, when I look at the price of BMW parts, I think to myself, God, 150. But 150 on a BMW part is nothing compared to a part on a Porsche. You'll spend 250, 300 for one part on a Porsche. You know, and as they say, Porsche parts are more expensive than a Ferrari part. And do you know why that is? Because a lot of the parts Porsche use, whether it be the Boxster, whether it be the Cayman, whether it be the 997, the Carreras, they all use the same setup. No Porsche is a cheap Porsche, believe me on that. They are all expensive. So don't think because someone's driving a Boxster, because someone's driving a Cayman, they can't afford a 911. Because what a lot of guys do fail to realize is that all the parts are exactly the same price. All the parts that fit on a Carrera will fit on a Boxster. The coolant pipes, the control arms, most of the parts on that car will fit in a Boxster or a Cayman. All the parts are exactly the same, identical. You can't even get mixed up at all. And that's why the parts are so expensive. And this is why BMW makes more sense for a lot of you guys. And even for me, and to be honest, I can't wait to go back to the BMW videos because you know why? I'm probably gonna be a lot happier because right now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling very deflated. This car is taking a lot out of me. I'm nearly coming to the end of it, but holy crap, when we add up and I'll show you the price of what Porsche parts are, you can't even begin to imagine how much I've spent on this car already. And that's not even without the upgraded sports exhaust, the headers, the IPD plenum I bought for it. We're talking thousands in that. The exhaust system was like £1,800 alone. The exhaust tips were 200. The IPD plenum was £1,000. You know, BNCF, it was 150. It all adds up, and it all adds up. The headers were 800. You're talking another £3,000 in that. And that's just them parts. That's not the control arms. It's not the coolant pipes I've done. It's not the tires. That's not the brakes. Remember, I've got the 991 brake setup on this as well. It's all very expensive. So if a lot of you are looking to get a Porsche and you're in the BMW scene, it's fine, but do make sure you have the money for these cars. It's not a joke. It really isn't. If many of you guys got a BMW right now, I envy you. That's not even a joke. I envy you because you know what? Even an M3, an M5 is nowhere near as expensive as this. No way. Not even in comparison. The only good thing about doing these is that I'm gonna come out ahead because I paid cheap for this car in the first place. But the long-term running cost for someone who has just bought one and hasn't done all this car is gonna financially cripple you. And you've got a lot of crackheads out there, and I say crackheads because they're absolutely crazy. I don't know what these guys are smoking, to be charging 25, 26 grand for these cars, and they've not had nothing done. Now listen to me guys, I'm being very honest with you, I've always been honest with you. If you are in the market for a Porsche, and I tell you this all the time about BMW, and the Porsche guys ain't gonna like this, because they get away with overcharging for them cars when they've had not a thing done to them. Most of them will not have the control arms done. Most of them will not have the coolant pipes done. They're approaching 80 to 90K. They're trying to flog it to you for 25, 26 grand. The engine's gonna be probably bore scoring at some point, if it ain't already when you go there to look at it. The coolant pipes are probably gonna be weeping because they all do that. Is a common issue. They can say bore scoring isn't a common problem on all of them, but the coolant hoses are. And if you are not mechanically minded, you're not gonna do it yourself, a garage is gonna charge you about £1,800 to do that job. And that's without the control arms. If your bolts are seized on the rear, you can't adjust the tracking. And guess what? Them Porsche guys ain't gonna do it because they have to take it to a garage. Because unfortunately, none of them are mechanically minded. None of them like getting their hands dirty. None of them can afford to do it themselves. So they'll take it to a garage, or then they will just leave it and pass it on to another person before it bore scores. That's what they do. Please, if you're in the market for a Porsche, do not overpay for anyone's price. Do not pay 12 grand. Do not pay 15 grand, and even for Boxsters. Do not buy them for more than 7 grand, please. Because the amount of money you're gonna need to put on them to get it to drive straight and perfect, you're gonna need to have money left over to do that. And the same for a 911, do not pay people 25 grand for these cars. It really, really isn't worth it. They need all that work done, regardless they tell you it has been done or it hasn't been done. Most of them will say it has been done, then you'll go there and find on the receipt that only one control arm has been replaced, one upper control arm has been replaced, one lower arm has been replaced, one this side, one that, not the whole lot together. That is how they do things. And guess what? The bolt seizes into the coffin arms, which is what you use to track the camber, and obviously the towing one doesn't seize, but the main coffin one does for electrolyte, because it's still going to aluminium, which then means you can't adjust the tracking. Don't buy one of these cars from someone else who's trying to pass the buck onto you and make you have to fork out. If you do want a 997, find a very, very clean example. Find one that has been meticulously maintained. And when I say meticulously maintained, I don't mean service history just with an oil change. Make sure you look under the car. Make sure you check everything is new and shiny. Do not buy that car if it has any of them issues. It's not so much about the bore scoring, but the coolant hose will be weeping. People will try and get out of that. You will notice it straight away. You can see straight away through the wheels, the lower coolant hoses, the crossover pipes, if they're all corroded and covered in salt. If they are, walk away. You want them freshly renewed. And guess what? None of these Porsche guys are gonna do it. So guess what? You don't pay them to 25 grand, and they'll be very hard pushed trying to sell that car unless they go out and spend that money and get it all done. If they haven't had it all done, don't buy the car from them. It is very, very simple. Let's get on and I'm gonna show you how much parts actually cost to own on a Porsche. Then you guys can make up your mind what you think about it. And if you really, really want one, let's take a look at the parts and then you can make up your mind from there. You can see here we're now on Design 911's website. Design 911 are probably the most known place to buy your Porsche parts all over the world. So right now they ship all over the world, worldwide. I'm not here to advertise for them because of course I'd make the money from this. I'm not making no money from them at all. Me and them sometimes get along, sometimes don't. They are quite dopey, most of them there, if I'm not going to even lie to you. Some of the time they get parts mixed up, some of the time they don't. It just depends on who you're dealing with at the time and who's actually packing your order. And obviously, as one of them did say to me, you can't expect the people packing in the parcels to know every single Porsche. Well, you know, that's why you end up with bits being mixed up for different cars because of the fact that they don't know what's different on each model, which realistically is a bit stupid if you ask me, but anyway. But yes, this is Design 911, and this is where you'll get to see a wide variety of what the parts actually cost for this car. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to click on everything I've got. I'll probably put it into the basket, then we'll tally up how much it could actually cost you to do this on a Porsche, especially on a 997. Now I know many of you are probably curious, will probably think I'm lying about how much things are on a Porsche, because you know you're not going to look it up unless you actually own one, and obviously you'll watch it if I've actually done a video on it. You get a drift of how expensive a Porsche is to own. This is why I said to you guys, you're in a BMW, stick with your BMW, because this right here is ridiculous. You guys can see for that price, right there guys, right there. Let me remind you, because many people are going to think, oh, it doesn't make you rich or this, that, the other. Why would you spend that type of money? Well, when you guys factor in this £11,600, let's minus the brakes, because as I said, I didn't buy the brakes that come with the car, still leaves me at 7-8 grand. 7-8 grand in on this car, and that's with an IPD plan, and that's with everything. Do listen to this, guys, when I tell you this. I only paid 10 grand for the car, as I told you. I'm only going to be at the most another 10 grand in. This car is gone for 32 grand. I know many of you are looking at that price up there thinking, oh my God, I could buy an E60 M5 for that. Because you can. You can go and buy an M3 for that price all day long. At least in this country. In this country, E60 M5s go for about 14, 15 grand. In good condition, some of them fetch 18, 19. But in normal condition, 05 ones, 06, they fetch about 14, 15 grand. So yes, the amount I've got in parts on this Carrera, I could have gone and bought an M5. That's correct. If I really wanted to. But it just shows you guys, I've got the money. And if I wanted to own another M car, I could. But right now, I have no need for one. I'm enjoying the Porsche life. But I know for many of you, you guys do like your BMWs, and that's fine. And I'm not saying I don't like BMW, just it's not the car for me. I have no need for it. You know, my kids are old enough. My missus has her own car, and I've got my own cars. I hardly drive. So for me, Porsche suits my every need, you know, mostly in my garage. When I need to go somewhere, go on my own in my box to go and collect what I need and come back. But for many of you guys, you have families, you need your BM. And I don't want to see none of you guys go bankrupt or have to mortgage your house for a car like this. This is why, guys, looking at that price right here, like I say, please don't get a Porsche unless you really, really have the money for them, because that's how much a Porsche engine can really bankrupt you financially and leave you in a very bad position in today's world, with the economy, with everything going to crap, businesses shutting down, being made redundant, everything a mess. Now is not the time to be buying one of these and spending that type of money on a car. Keep the car you got, enjoy it, spend your little amounts of money. I know many of you don't have the money to buy genuine even BMW parts. If you don't, just buy what you can to make it run to get you around for now. So there you have it, guys. I've now shown you how expensive it is to actually own a Porsche and why you guys should feel lucky to drive and own your BMW still. Now, I still got my BMWs, as I told you, still got my 130i with the M52 engine. I've still got my E60. That needs to actually come back in here. And I did promise you guys, and I did tell you, that E60 will not be going nowhere. And I told you specifically, that car is what made this channel. It's a car I've always adored, I always wanted, and not just because I've made it and I've got these Porsches, I'm gonna get rid of that E60, because that E60 is what made me who I am today. It's what brought you guys over to this channel, and it's the car I know you guys actually love seeing, and it's the car that I work on. When you guys need my help on something, I know I can do a video on that and show you guys what you need to look for, what you need to check, and how to repair it. So that car won't be going anywhere. So you guys, you don't have to worry about it, and I hope many of you have enjoyed this video. And why? I tell you guys, please, please, do not pay 25 grand for no Porsche. That, bear in mind, that's just in parts. That's not even labor included. If you had labor included, with an engine rebuild and all the labor time for control arms and coolant hoses, you're probably looking at about another 9 to 10 grand on top of that price. If you buy a car for 25 grand, you have to do all that and pay someone to do that, you're in at the car at 50 grand. You will never be able to sell it at 50 grand. You cannot be buying these cars for 25 grand. Maximum you guys need to give, and you stand your ground, is 9 to 10 grand for these cars. I know they're all advertised everywhere for 25, and you guys are gonna say you can't find them for that price in your country. Well, guess what? Don't buy them, and don't be foolish enough to even make them an offer. They will drop it in the end. The more these videos get shared, and you guys should be sharing this video, so it raises awareness, they will have to drop their prices. Because guess what? These guys think, oh God, I ain't gonna be able to sell my car now. There's awareness out there. I'm either gonna have to repair it all if I want that money, or I'm just gonna have to sell it for cheap. And that is what should happen. They cannot get away with charging them ridiculous prices for these cars when purely they know that them things have to be done and they're trying to put the burden on you. Thank you very much for watching, guys. It's BMW Dr. Dean here, and goodbye.